Hey everyone, welcome back to my Loom kitchen, and today I'm going to show you how to make the mini version of my ice Loom banana split. This is pretty simple to make and doesn't use up a lot of bands. If you click the link under this video, it should take you to the recipe page where I listed down the number of bands per color and the colors I used. So check that out, come back, and let's begin. So there are a few things that we can make ahead of time before we begin. And first is this banana extension. Now I'll show you how to make that now. Get your hook. You can use your loom hook or a crochet hook. Take two bands. Wrap it around your hook twice. Take another two bands. And you're going to pull that through. Now that band you just pulled through, keep one end on your hook and leave the other end hanging. Now you're going to get another two bands. And you're going to pull that through the end that's still on your hook. And you're going to take another two. And you're going to pull that through again. And you're going to take one last pair and pull that through. Let's bring up here. So it should look this way. Now we're going to temporarily make a slip knot with this last chain just so that it holds together. So I'm going to pull one end through the other just to hold it in the meantime. Then remove your hook. Now take your hook and place it through that other end. With the other end on your hook, you're going to place your hook through that first chain on the other side. That way. Then you take two bands and you're going to pull it through that chain and through that other end. And take the other side. So it looks like that. Now with those two ends on your hook, you're going to go through, you're going to go through the second chain. And you're going to pull two bands through that chain and through those ends. Now take the end that way. Now you're going to undo that temporary slip knot of that third chain from the first set we did, and you're going to place it on your hook. Then you're going to get two bands and pull that through. And that is your banana extension. We'll be needing 4 pieces total of this banana extension. So if you can pause your video and make that and set them aside for later. The next item that we need to pre-make would be the rim for our bowl or the cup of your banana split. And they're just basically wrap bands that look like this. And to make that, you're going to get 4 of your bowl or your glass or your cup color. Take a single band, wrap it around your hook 3 times. Take another single band, wrap it around your hook 3 times. Now you're going to get 2 bands and you're going to pull them through these wrap bands one at a time. There. So they look like this. We'll be needing 14 pieces of these rims. So if you could make 14 pieces and then set them aside, we'll get back to them later. So let's start with our mini banana split. We'll be needing our regular loom. If you could remove the center row and have your remaining two rows facing on opposite directions. My front row is facing to the right and my back row is facing to the left. You're going to need your loom hook, and if you have a crochet hook, it would come in handy. We are only going to be working on a total of 14 pegs, so that's 7 pegs on each side. And let's start with the center. You're going to take a single red band for your cherry band, wrap it around your hook 3 times, now you're going to take 4 whipped cream bands and you're going to pull it through those cherry bands. We will be needing 3 pieces of this cherry with the whipped cream bands to top our 3 baby ice cream scoops. Now we're going to take the ends of one pair and we're going to bring that down the center of our loom. Then take the ends of the other pair and bring it here and here. And that's our starting point. Now we're going to take 2 bands, 2 white bands for the whipped cream still, on top, below, on sides. And we're going to lift the lower 2 bands up and over on all 4 pegs. Now for your whatever color you're using on your center peg. In my case, my center ice cream color will be vanilla. So you're going to put your hook through that first peg, pull 2 of your ice cream flavor bands through. You're going to replace that one peg with one end, and then you place the other end across. Then for this next peg, you pull another 2 bands through. You replace one end on the previous peg and the other end replaces that peg. And let's do this other side. Put your hook through, pull 2 bands through, one end replaces that peg and the other end goes to the other side. Another 2 bands, pull it through, one end goes on the previous peg and the other end replaces that peg. And we're going to fill in those 2 gaps with the same color. I'm going to exit out. Now we're going to finish up this scoop by laying double bands on the 6 pegs. And we're going to lift all the lower 4 bands up and over. Let's do one more round, 2 bands. One last round, 2 bands, 2 bands. So we're done with the center flavor or the center scoop. Let's move on to the sides. So you take your red band again and you pull 4 whipped cream bands through like we did at the start. And then you take the ends of a pair of the 2 white bands and you're going to place one here right beside the scoop end, and then you're going to take your other one and we're going to place that here on the opposite side. Now you're going to push down all the bands of that center scoop because we're going to be placing our bands on top of it, and but we're not going to be touching any of those bands. So take the other end of your whipped cream bands on the side scoops and lay them that way, and same with this side. Now we're going to do a round of whipped cream bands on those 2 outer scoops. 2 bands, 2 bands, 2 here. Now we're going to lift the lower 2 bands on all the 4 pegs of these 2 outer scoops. Remember, don't touch that center scoop. Now we're going to weave in the colors on these 2 outer scoops. So for this one, I have my strawberry. I'm going to pull 2 bands through. Place one end to replace that peg and place the other end across here. Put your hook through that second whipped cream band peg, pull two through. One end goes on the previous and one end replaces that peg. Let's move on to this one first. Put your hook through just the whipped cream bands. And you're going to pull your other flavor through. And place one end on that peg. Place the other one across. Go to this. Pull two bands through. One end replaces that peg and the other end goes to the previous peg. Turn it around. Let's do this side. Put your hook through the two bands. Pull it through. One end replaces that peg. The other end goes to the peg across. Hook through. Pull those two bands through. One end goes in the previous. Other end replaces that peg. Now for this, let's just fill in those two blank spots with your flavor here, X'd out. Another flavor here, X'd out. Let's repeat that for the pink or the strawberry scoop. Just going through that strawberry side, one end replaces that peg, the other end will go across. And for the center, two bands through, one end goes on that previous peg, the other end replaces the peg. Now we're going to fill in two spots, two bands here, and two bands here. So now per flavor, we're going to need 3 rounds. Let's do the strawberry first. So I'm going to lay 2 bands all around the 6 pegs where the strawberry flavor is. And remember, when you lift the lower bands up and over, we're not going to touch any of those vanilla or the center flavor bands. We're just going to be touching the strawberry flavored bands. That's the first round of the strawberry side. Round 2. Again, don't touch any of the center flavor bands. And the last round of our strawberry. So we finished 3 rounds of our strawberry flavor. And now on this end, where these two flavors are overlapping, you're just going to pick up the center flavor and bring it up and over. Just on that finished side, so this part's done. Let's finish off the last flavor. So again, we're going to need 3 rounds of the flavor for this area. I'm going to fast forward a bit, so please feel free to pause your video if you need to catch up. Remember, while we're doing the rounds of the ice cream flavor, please don't touch any of the bands of the separate or the center ice cream flavor for this split. Last round for this flavor. Now once we're done with this flavor, you can take the center flavor on this peg that overlaps and just bring that up and over. So every peg should only have 4 bands on them. So you want to see how it looks, you can just push it up just to see. So we have our 3 scoops for now. Now let's start with the banana section. We're going to weave banana bands on these center 5 pegs on both sides. So if you place your hook through first, pull those bands through. Now you place one end on this peg. Now grab the other end off your hook and hold it. Go to the next peg, pick that up. Now grab that end that you have in your other hand and pull those banana bands through. So these 2 pegs share a center banana band. For the next, just pull 2 bands through, put one end on the previous peg and replace the peg with the other end. Same here. So that's one side. Let's repeat it on the other side. And the first 2 pegs share that banana pulled through band. And weave the yellow bands as we normally do. Now we're going to attach our banana bands. So take your first. I'm gonna use my hook so it's easier. So with the curve going this way, I'm going to attach it to this peg. For the other side, it will be the curve going that way. Let's repeat that here. Now we're going to lay banana bands over here, 2 bands in the center, on the center pegs. On the sides here, we're going to keep 2 bands of the same flavor. Just going to lift all the lower 4 bands up and over on each peg. Now we're going to weave our cup bands or whatever bowl bands you're using for your banana split. I'm using white. So go through that first peg, pull those 2 bands through, place one end to replace it, and let's place the other end here temporarily. Next peg, 2 bands through, next peg, 2 bands through, one goes on the previous, the other one replaces. We're just going to repeat that all around. Last one. Now take that other end of the first one, just bring it over. So we finished weaving all the cup bands, and now we're going to attach our rims. So bring out your rim attachments, and you're just going to lay them out on the 14 pegs. So after laying down your rims, before we lift the lower bands up and over, we're going to attach, or we're going to secure our banana extensions down so that they won't fly out. So just take a single band, place your hook through one extension, pull that single band through, and we're just going to place that side here. Now just do the same for the others. So after our extensions have been secured and the rims have been attached, you're just going to lift all the lower bands up and over. Now we're going to take double bands and lay them around these 14 pegs. This is the first round on the 14 pegs. So when we lift our bands up and over, the 4 corner pegs will have 6 bands to lift up and over, while the rest of the pegs will only have 4. Okay, before we continue, I'm just going to push this up a bit, but just be careful not to pull it off the loom. So our second round on the 14 pegs. If you could try to lay your bands out on the top and the bottom rows first before the sides, so it'll be easier when we transition down to 12 pegs. Lift the lower 4 bands up and over. One last round of double bands on the 14 pegs. Lift your bands up and over again, the lower 4. So now from these 14 pegs, we're going to decrease to 12 pegs. So on this peg, smoothen it out. You're going to take the upper 2 bands, which should be these bands. If you did your sides last, pick it up, bring it here. The lower 2, bring it back here. The same on this peg. The upper 2 bands, bring here. And the lower 2 back here. Now double bands on these 12 pegs. Lift all the lower bands up and over. The corner pegs should have 6 bands, while the rest should have only 4 to lift up and over. Our last step will be single bands and lay them around all the 12 pegs. Now lift the lower 4 bands up and over, and you should only be left with 2 bands on each peg. Okay, just close this up. So we're going to close starting on this peg, but first we go to the one across, put your hook through, and pick up the lower band of the 2 and bring it over to your starting peg. Hook through, push back those upper 2 bands, pick up the lowest band, move it forward. Hook through, pick up the lowest band, move it forward. Hook through, pick up that lowest band and move it forward. Hook through, lowest band, move it forward. Just continue doing that all around. Our second to the last peg should only have 1 to bring to that starting peg. Now place your hook through your starting peg, pick up 1 more band, and tie that off in a slip knot. If you can help your banana split off the loom. After you move from the loom, just shape it up a bit. Now for the bottom portion, you don't have to do this, but I just feel like it keeps it tighter. Push your hook through on both sides, pull a single band through, create a slip knot, go through the other side again on both sides, create a slip knot, and just hide that tail. And you just shape it up a bit, and that's it. So I hope you like it. Enjoy your baby banana splits.